Okay, so picture this. You're looking out over these incredibly lush green paddy fields. We're talking Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh, right on the coast.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, right?
Absolutely stunning imagery.
Yeah,
Classic rural India.
exactly. You almost feel the sun, smell the earth. But what you don't see, what's hidden behind that postcard view,
Hmm.
is this like immense struggle. The people actually working those fields, the tenant farmers, they're battling the system.
Yeah, it's a real disconnect, isn't it? This outward abundance, but underneath, the very people making it happen are locked out of the support systems meant for them.
hmm They're trying to get this thing called a Crop Cultivator Rights Card, or CCRC.
Right, the CCRC. It sounds technical, maybe boring even.
Totally. But digging into it, you realize this isn't just some bit of bureaucratic paper. For these farmers, it's basically a lifeline.
A lifeline, yeah. Think
Yeah.
of it like a VIP pass almost.
That's a good way to put it. It unlocks all the essential government help. We're talking subsidies, for seeds, fertilizer, stuff that really matters when your margins are razor thin.
And crop insurance too.
Yeah.
Crucial, absolutely crucial given how unpredictable the weather can be. Pests, cyclones.
Yeah, and bank loans, access to proper loans, not the loan sharks charging sky-high interest.
Yeah.
It even affects disaster compensation if something awful happens.
Exactly. So it's not just about the money, though that's huge. It's about providing a measure of stability, security for a huge part of the agricultural workforce. These are the folks growing our food there.
But without the card.
Without the card, they're essentially invisible to the system, excluded, which creates this massive imbalance.
And that's what we're diving into today. Why is getting this seemingly simple card such a nightmare for tenant farmers in Srikakulam? What's stopping them? What are the real consequences?
Well, okay, to really get it, we need a little context. This CCRC, it didn't just pop up overnight. It actually replaced an older system, the Loan Eligibility Card, or LEC.
Yeah.
This was back in 2019.
Right, under the Andhra Pradesh Crop Cultivator Rights Act.
Yeah.
And the big change, the thing that seems to be causing all the problems, is that the old LEC didn't need the landowner's okay, did it?
That's the absolute crux of it. For the CCRC, this new card, the tenant farmer needs written consent from the landowner.
And that one requirement, it just threw a massive spanner in the works, didn't it?
It really did. You can see it clear as day in the numbers. Take Krishna District. In 2018, with the old LEC system, over 59,000 tenant farmers got the card.
Okay.
Then fast forward to late 2019, after the CCRC and this landowner consent rule came in, that number in the same district crashed to just over 22,000.
Wow. That's a huge drop, more than half.
Dramatic drop. Yeah, it really shows the immediate impact of just that one change.
And if Krishna's numbers are worrying, Srikakulam, it sounds even worse. I read about a study, Raithu Swarajya Vedika did it in 2022. They work on farmer rights.
Yes, RSV. Their findings were pretty sobering. Across Andhra Pradesh as a whole, they found only about, 9.6% of tenant farmers actually had CCRCs.
Less than 1 in 10.
But in Srikakulam specifically, the estimates for 2020-21 were even lower, a mere 6%.
6%.
6%. Just let that sink in. That means 94%. 94% of the people who are the backbone of farming in that district were operating completely outside these support systems.
It's staggering. Just staggering.
Yes.
So the big question then, why? Why are landowners so hesitant? Why not just sign the form? It helps the person actually farming their land.
It's complicated. There are a few layers to it. A big one is fear about their land rights.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
They're worried it weakens their claim somehow.
Exactly. They worry that formally acknowledging the tenant on paper, even for this card, might give the tenant some future legal leverage or make it harder to get the land back if they want to. Property rights are, a sensitive issue.
Deeply ingrained concerns, yeah. Makes sense from their perspective, I suppose. But is it just that?
No, not entirely. For some, it's also just avoiding the bureaucracy. They see it as hassle forms, coordinating with the tenant, with the village officials. It feels like extra work they don't want.
Right, just another thing to deal with.
And maybe for some, there's a preference for keeping things informal, maintaining the existing power dynamic. A formal CCRC might feel like it shifts that balance a bit.
I see. Now, the system was supposed to have a fix for this, wasn't it? Like village revenue officers or volunteers acting as go-betweens to help get that signature.
That was the idea, yes, to mediate. But the evidence suggests it's just not working very well on the ground.
The low numbers speak for themselves, really.
They do. That RSV study looked at this, too. They surveyed nearly 4,000 tenant farmers across different districts. Only a tiny handful, literally just a few hundred, had managed to get a CCRC through this official mediation route. It shows the process isn't really overcoming those hurdles.
And here's the really kicking part. Even for the few who did manage to get the card, jump through all the hoops. Something like 59% of them, nearly two-thirds, didn't actually get any benefits from it anyway.
Which is incredibly disheartening, isn't it?
Totally. You go through all that, potentially strain your relationship with the landowner, and then nothing. What's the point?
It really highlights a potential breakdown further down the line. It's not just about getting the card issued. It's about whether the systems are in place to actually deliver the subsidies, the insurance access, the loans, because you have the card.
So the implementation is flawed maybe at multiple stages.
It certainly raises questions about the whole chain, yeah.
Okay, let's zoom out again. Who are these tenant farmers in Srikakulam? We're not talking about a small fringe group, are we?
Oh, absolutely not. They are central. These are the people putting in the hard labor, the skill, the investment, cultivating land they don't own, paying rent. They are a massive part of the agricultural workforce, especially in a district like Srikakulam, where farming is like the economic engine.
And the scale is just mind-boggling. I saw a figure, something like over 70% of the farmed land in Andhra Pradesh is worked by tenant farmers.
That's the estimate, yes. A huge proportion.
Yeah, only 5% of them get crop loans from banks. 5%.
That contrast is stark, isn't it? 70% of the cultivation, 5% of the formal loans, it just lays bare how precarious their situation is.
So vulnerable.
Yeah.
Without that formal credit, without the safety nets.
They're incredibly exposed to everything. Bad weather, pests, market price drops, natural disasters. All the risks inherent in farming hit them hardest.
And we're talking specific programs they miss out on, like Ritu Bharosa, that cash transfer.
Yes, that direct financial support. Off the table without a CCRC. And crop insurance, as we mentioned. Think about cyclones in that coastal region.
Like Cyclone Titley back in 2018. That hit Srikakulam hard, didn't it? Vajrapukaturu, mandel, paddy, coconuts, wiped out.
Devastating. And farmers without CCRCs, they had no way to claim compensation. Nothing. Their entire investment gone overnight.
Which leads straight into that cycle of debt we talked about.
Precisely. Where else do you turn? You're forced to go to private moneylenders.
Who charge insane interest rates.
Exactly. It becomes a trap. Very, very difficult to escape. It just grinds people down.
Have there been any efforts to help, like specifically in Srikakulam, with this debt issue? I know about Jeevan Rekha in Anantapur.
Right. Jeevan Rekha tries to connect farmers to banks, offer support. It's a good initiative. But its reach is limited. It hasn't really been scaled up or replicated effectively in places like Srikakulam, where the need is just so acute.
So let's talk scale again. How many tenant farmers are we talking about in the whole state?
The estimate is around 30 lakh, so 3 million.
3 million. And the government's target for issuing CCRCs was?
The target was set at 10 lakh, 1 million.
Okay, so target 1 million out of 3 million potential farmers. And the actual number issued as of this year?
Only around 7 lakh, so 700,000.
Still 300,000 short of the target, which itself was only a third of the estimated total. Wow.
It really shows the gap between policy ambition and ground reality. The implementation challenge is enormous.
And Srikakulam, with that tiny 6% coverage?
Yeah.
It's like Exhibit A of the problem, isn't it?
It really is a stark example of how difficult it's proving to get this support to the people who need it most, especially in certain regions.
And then there are these claims from the Andhra Pradesh Tenant Farmers Association. They're saying some cards aren't even going to real tenant farmers.
Yeah, they allege that some CCRCs might be getting issued to like friends or relatives of landowners, people who aren't actually doing the cultivating.
Which, if true, is just awful. It adds another layer of injustice. It means the system could be getting manipulated.
It raises serious questions about fairness and making sure the support reaches the right people. It undermines the whole point of the CCRC, really.
This goes so far beyond just paperwork, doesn't it? It's about people's lives. Millions of people feeding the nation.
Absolutely. It strikes at the heart of their livelihoods. And when tenant farmers struggle like this, the whole agricultural economy of Andhra Pradesh feels it. It's all connected.
Yeah, you can see how it ripples out. Less access to support means maybe lower yields, more debt. People might even give up farming.
Which affects food prices, rural jobs, the whole regional economy. It's significant.
Especially when you see the state government is actually putting more money into agriculture. Big budget allocations, right? Schemes like Annadatha Sukhapava PM Kisan.
Huge sums, yeah. Promising significant direct payments to farmers.
But here's the kicker.
Yeah.
if you don't have that CCRC.
You're locked out. The vast majority of tenant farmers are excluded from the very schemes designed to help farmers. It's a fundamental paradox. The people doing the work can't access the benefits.
It's not just cash transfers either. Things like soil health cards, crop insurance schemes, big money earmarked.
Important initiatives, no doubt. But again, who benefits? Mostly landowners or the small percentage of tenant farmers with CCRCs. The majority remain outside that safety net.
So you end up with this kind of two-tier system in farming. Some have access, most don't.
That's a good way to describe it. One group operates with support, the other with much, much greater risk.
You can just imagine the frustration. Think of a farmer, let's call him Ramesh, trying to get that signature. Maybe the landowner lives far away. Maybe they need to, I don't know, consult an astrologer first.
Well, maybe. But seriously, the delays, the refusals.
Right. And by the time, if he gets the signature, maybe the best time to plant has passed. So
Where's
he's already behind and needs a loan quickly.
It has to go to the moneylender. Starts the season already in debt. It's the human cost of this red tape. It affects everything. Planting times, credit access, the whole year's outcome.
And that village volunteer trying to mediate. You picture them caught in the middle, between a reluctant landowner, maybe with deep-seated fears, and a desperate tenant farmer.
It's a tough spot. Often these volunteers are stretched thin anyway. Relying solely on mediation without tackling the root causes of the reluctance, it has limits.
You'd think, like you said, in 2024, there'd be a smarter way, maybe using technology, digital records, something less dependent on one person's signature.
Seems logical, doesn't it? Instead of this cumbersome paper chase.
Now, there have been some attempts to fix this, right? Like that awareness campaign in East Godavari a few years back.
That's right. Back in 2021, they tried to reassure landowners, hey, this card is only for 11 months. It doesn't give tenants ownership rights. Please sign.
Did it work?
Well, they had a target, aimed to reach about 100,000 more farmers, but it was a temporary campaign, localized. We haven't seen similar big pushes in places like Srikakulam where the problem is so bad.
And the Jivan Rekha program in Anantapur with helplines and community meetings, that sounds more promising, more ongoing.
It does seem like a more comprehensive approach, yeah. But again, the issue is scale. It hasn't been rolled out widely, especially not to Srikakulam.
So it needs more resources, more political will to expand it.
Definitely. You need a sustained effort, properly funded, to really shift the dial on this across the state. Short-term fixes aren't enough for a problem this big.
So thinking about ways forward, what could actually make a difference for Ramesh and all the others in Srikakulam? What are some real possibilities?
Well, one major thing could be simplifying the process. Maybe reducing the need for that landowner signature, or even removing it if tenancy can be verified another way.
How? Like using existing records?
Exactly. Things like digital land records or the e-Panta system they use for crop registration anyway.
Yeah.
If you can reliably see who's farming the land, maybe that's enough. Focus on the cultivator, not just the owner.
That makes sense. Verify the activity, not just the ownership link.
Alongside that, you'd need really strong awareness campaigns in Srikakulam, talking to both tenants and landowners. Explain the CCRC, what it does, what it doesn't do, dispel those fears, build some trust.
Maybe even, I don't know, incentivize landowners, like a small tax break or something if they sign. Could that nudge them?
That's an interesting thought. A little carrot, perhaps, but you'd also need to tighten verification, right? To stop those allegations of fraud, make sure the cards go to genuine tenant farmers.
That's a good point. Keep the system honest.
And finally, take what works, like maybe Jivan Rekha in Anantapur, adapt it and roll it out properly in Srikakulam. Functional helplines, local support networks, give farmers real assistance navigating this.
So when you boil it all down, this CCRC, it's so much more than just a card, isn't it? It's about survival, about fairness for the people who literally put food on our tables.
It's their lifeline, or it should be. But for so many in Srikakulam, it's still out of reach. Frustratingly so.
It really connects us as food consumers back to the people growing it, their struggles, their economic security. It affects us all, really.
Absolutely. It underlines how vital a healthy, supported agricultural sector is. Not just for farmers, but for everyone.
It makes you think about the whole system, doesn't it? Ensuring support actually reaches the people doing the essential work. Definitely something to reflect on.